You lock your door every single night. You turn the heavy brass deadbolt, hear that reassuring metallic click, and instantly feel safe. You pull the blinds down, shutting out the dark streets. Your breathing slows. Your shoulders drop. Your home is your fortress. But this exact nightly routine, this desperate need for physical control, is exactly what makes you the most vulnerable. Right now, your brain is lying to you in the most dangerous way possible. We deeply believe we can control our own safety. This illusion is hardwired into our DNA, buried deep inside the amygdala, the ancient fear center of the brain. Millions of years of evolution taught us to hide in caves, build fires, and trust only familiar faces. Your brain is perfectly programmed to recognize loud, aggressive threats. We expect evil to look like evil. But what if the predator isn't growling at the door? What if evolution left a massive blind spot in your psyche? For decades, psychologists from Harvard, Yale, and Stanford have studied how the human brain makes decisions in situations of social uncertainty. They discovered something shocking. Our ancient survival instinct has an easily accessible kill switch. A crisp uniform. A confident, slightly bored tone of voice. A polite smile. A routine context. When someone simply looks like they have the right to be there, our brain stops analyzing them as a threat. We become fatally blind to the danger standing right in front of us. This is where the terrifying truth hides. The Boston Strangler was not an elusive ninja. He was a devastatingly effective psychological hacker. He didn't pick complex locks. He hacked human beings. A faded green utility jacket. A cheap wooden clipboard, a yellow measuring tape over his shoulder, a simple, boring phrase. "I'm from the housing authority, ma'am. We have a report of a leak." That was the entire master plan. The women of Boston were terrified, but when an ordinary man in a familiar uniform knocked on a sunny Tuesday afternoon, they turned the key themselves. They didn't see the monster from the newspapers. They saw a tired plumber. Their gut instinct whispered a warning, but their social conditioning screamed louder. They didn't want to be rude. They didn't want to cause a fuss. So they smiled, apologized for the mess, stepped aside, and voluntarily invited death into their living rooms. He exploited a biological bug in human psychology. Our fear of social awkwardness is much stronger and faster than our logical fear of death. When Albert DeSalvo finally confessed to 13 horrific murders, the police rejoiced. The case was slammed shut. But if you look at the original interrogation transcripts, a completely different picture emerges. DeSalvo was a documented pathological liar with a narcissistic thirst for fame. He was coached and manipulated by another sociopathic inmate named George Nasser, who wanted the reward money. The psychological manipulation didn't end with the victims. It spread directly into the police precinct. Human memory is not a pristine video camera. Every time you remember something, your brain reconstructs the event from scratch. In famous experiments on the misinformation effect, scientists proved that memory is incredibly fragile. If a stressed, exhausted interrogator asks leading questions and rewards correct answers, the brain doesn't just lie. It actually manufactures a completely false but vivid memory. DeSalvo sat for hours in a smoke-filled room with desperate detectives who spoon-fed him classified details from the crime scenes. "What color was the floral couch, Albert?" "It was green, wasn't it?" And Albert, eager to please and desperate for the spotlight, would eagerly nod, instantly absorbing the detail into his fictional script. This toxic dance between traumatized investigators and a narcissist starving for infamy created the perfect monster on paper. This story is not some dusty archive from the 1960s. The exact same psychological mechanism is working against you right now. Today's psychological hackers no longer need a green jacket and clipboard. They knock on your social media profiles. They slide into your DMs. They infiltrate your banking apps and emails. They exploit the same biological blind spots. The illusion of authority, manufactured urgency, fear of missing out, and the desperate desire to be helpful and polite. You're sitting there right now, feeling perfectly safe behind your glowing screen, thinking you would never open that door. You would spot the lie immediately. You would demand ID. You would never break under pressure. But that is just your ego trying to keep you calm. The cold, hard truth is, you are not watching this story from the outside. You're a functioning, breathing, vulnerable part of this exact same psychological machine. Decades later, DNA confirmed that Albert DeSalvo was linked to only one victim, Mary Sullivan. Modern FBI profilers almost universally agree. The Boston Strangler, as a single mastermind, likely never existed at all. The overwhelming evidence points to multiple, completely disconnected killers. Different criminals with different motives simply began copying the signature, safely hiding behind the terrifying mask that the newspapers had invented. The human mind cannot process random, senseless, decentralized chaos. It is much easier and more comforting to believe in one all-powerful bogeyman than to accept that evil is entirely mundane, has many faces, and lives right next door. The media practically manufactured the brand of the Boston Strangler, and opportunistic killers simply took shelter in his massive, terrifying. The hacking mechanism remains absolutely identical to the 1960s. The bugs in the human brain have not been patched. Only the interface has changed. We are just as utterly defenseless against a confident, well-dressed lie as we have ever been in the history of our species. You let them in every single day when you blindly click accept terms, when you panic and transfer money because a calm voice said they were fraud prevention. The ghosts of those 13 women are dark mirrors showing us our own immense, denial-fueled fragility. A heavy steel lock, an expensive alarm can protect your physical body from brute force. But only hypercritical thinking, deep paranoia disguised as caution, and the unapologetic willingness to break the rules of social politeness can protect your actual life. A locked door means absolutely nothing if your mind is left wide open. Now that you know exactly how easily the ancient security systems of your own brain can be bypassed with nothing more than a warm smile and a fake badge, ask yourself one final question. When you walk outside tomorrow, when you answer an unknown call, or hold the elevator door for someone in a delivery uniform, who is actually making that decision? Is it the logical you, or is it the blind, automatic social programming running quietly in the background? And remember, no matter what they look like, and no matter what they say, do not open the door for anyone.